Hi everybody, I'm back again for another cooking video, and today we're going to learn how to make a cheese sauce for the macaroni cheese, or you could use it to make like a filling with cheese and ham to put inside pancakes, or you can use it to put over vegetables. You can have like cauliflower and a cheese sauce. When I was younger, my mum always said as long as I could make a tomato sauce, a cheese sauce, a sponge cake and pastry, I'd be fine, and I think she was right. So I've got my pan here on a medium heat. I'm just keeping warm today, it's really cold. And I'm going to add to it butter. And then I'm going to add a little drop of oil. You don't have to do that, but it's just to stop my butter burning because I am going to cook leeks in mine today. You don't have to use leeks at all. You can use no vegetables. In fact, a normal cheese sauce wouldn't have vegetables in it, but I've just got some leeks left in the fridge, so I thought it would be quite nice to have them in with the pasta. So I'm just melting my butter, and I've washed my leeks and I've cut them up into semicircles, and I'm just going to pop them into the pan. A really good tip when you're melting butter and you're cooking anything in butter: if you use unsalted butter, it's less likely to burn, and if you add a little bit of oil, it's less likely to burn as well. So my leeks have gone into the pot, and once they're cooking, I'll talk you through the rest of the ingredients. So there we are, I've got my leeks in, and these will take a good 5-10 minutes to soften down. So there we are. So my leeks are in there with my butter. As I said, you could just melt the butter and not cook the leeks at all, and you'd have a nice smooth cheese sauce. So I've got here 50 grams of butter. I've got 100 grams of strong cheese. The stronger the cheese, the more flavoursome your sauce will be. You can add 50 grams of strong cheddar and 50 grams of blue cheese if you wanted to have a blue cheese sauce, which is really nice and nice on things like gnocchi, or you can just have your strong cheddar. And I like to add a bit of mustard to my cheese sauce. You don't have to at all, you can leave it out. Got plain flour, and that's what's going to thicken it, so we add the plain flour to our butter. And then we're going to have 500 mils of milk, which I've measured out. Okay, so I'm just going to let these cook away. Okay, so you can see now that the leeks have really broken down. They're not holding their shape anymore, and they're quite soft. They will cook a bit more in the sauce, and they'll cook a bit more in the oven. This is the kind of sauce you can do if you had some cooked chicken, and you could add some cooked chicken to this and make it into a pie filling. But we are doing pasta today, so we're doing macaroni cheese with leeks. So in here I've got my 50 grams of butter. I put a little bit of oil so the butter wouldn't burn. And I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of plain flour. And I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top so it doesn't go into a clump. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is called a roux. So we mix our flour into the fat. So at the moment we've got the butter and the oil, and we mix it into it, and it makes a roux. So if you were just to add your milk in now, it would never thicken up. But equally, if you weren't to mix the flour in with the butter, you'd end up with clumps of flour. So you need to mix it in with the fat to end up with a nice silky sauce. So now we're going to just add our milk a tiny bit at a time, because we don't want it to go lumpy. So I'm just adding a little bit and stirring it round. Try and make sure you can hear the bottom of the pan, so this bit's not sticking on the bottom of the pan. A little bit more. So I've got 500 mils of milk. If you heat your milk first, if you have a microwave and you heat your milk first, then it is much easier to add, but I don't have a microwave, so I'm just adding mine in cold. So I'm going to keep going until all of the milk is added. So I've added my milk a little bit at a time. I've just got the last bit to add. You can see it's gone really thick and creamy. And by adding it a little bit at a time has meant it hasn't gone lumpy at all. So there we go, got a nice creamy sauce. I like to add to mine a teaspoon of mustard, whatever mustard you've got, it really doesn't matter, or you can use mustard powder. But if you don't want to add mustard, you don't have to. There we go, so I'm going to add in a little bit of mustard to stir it round. And then I'm going to let this cook out. Because the flour hasn't really had a chance to cook yet, the flour is kind of raw. So I'm going to let it cook out for 2 or 3 minutes. Not on too high a heat, so a nice low heat, so it's not bubbling too much. And I'm going to let it cook out before I add my cheese. Okay, so it's been bubbling away for a few minutes now, and I'm having a little taste to see if it needs any salt or pepper. Remember, your cheese is salty, so always add less salt at this stage than you think you might need. So I'm putting a little pinch in just now. And then I'm going to add my cheese. I'm going to keep a bit back to sprinkle on top once it's in the tray. So there we are. So I'm just going to mix this in, and this should be hot enough to melt the cheese. In this pot here, I've got my cooked pasta. So I've cooked that in boiling water. And the way I measure pasta is I do a handful per person and then an extra handful. So we've got 4 of us in the family. So I've done 4 handfuls of pasta, then with an extra, so that's 5 handfuls of pasta. So that's just going into this oven-proof dish. The cheese here is melting into the sauce, and I am then going to pour the sauce over the pasta, and then I will pop it in the oven to get all nice and bubbly and hopefully go nice and brown on top. Last week I did a fajita recipe, and my son was not impressed because he said that he couldn't cope with hot pans. So this week he is going to cope with hot pans, and I'm positive he will do just fine. So I'm going to turn this off. As you can see, the sauce has gone really nice and thick now. You can see the little bits of mustard in it, and you can see the bits of leek. So I'm going to pour that over my pasta. I probably had enough here to keep a bit back to put on a baked potato, put over a baked potato or something, but I'm going to have a really nice cheesy dish. So there we are. I'm going to stir it in carefully, and then I'm going to pop the rest of the cheese on top. Maybe not. I think we've got just the right amount here. Make sure it's all coated, or you will get crispy, dry pasta when it comes out of the oven. So you can either put this in the oven. If you were to make this in the morning, you can put it in the oven for 15-20 minutes to warm through and go crispy on top. But if you're really just going to eat it now, you can put it under the grill, and that will give you a nice crisp topping. So I'm just going to sprinkle my cheese on. If you've got any ends of bread that you're finished with, you can make it into breadcrumbs and you could sprinkle that on top. If you eat meat, you could put a little bit of cooked bacon through it. Or if you say you had some leftover cooked broccoli or cauliflower, you could add that as well. So there we are. So we've made a basic cheese sauce with leeks, and we've ended up putting it through pasta, and I'm going to put it under the grill and I'll show you when it's finished. Okay, so this has been under the grill for 5 minutes, and you can see it's got these nice brown bits on top where the cheese is melted and gone crispy. So I'm going to just portion up a nice portion of this now. So here we have a lovely cheese sauce with leeks in pasta. So it's macaroni cheese. And remember, you can add any vegetables you've got. You need to cook them first. So you could steam some broccoli or cauliflower. You could add in a tin of sweet corn. You could add in some frozen spinach portions and let them cook into the sauce. You could add in some little bits of bacon if you want. So you can make your basic cheese sauce and add what you want. Make it how you want it. I hope you enjoy cooking this.